And now for something completely different.
Forget everything you've been told by others before. Get ready for the real deal, the full story. Real talk about money, markets, life. Now, it's The Real Investment Show, presented by RIA Advisors.
Is it Friday already? It is. It's Financial Fitness Friday. Welcome. I'm Rich Rosso, CFP, here with Danny Ratliff, Certified Financial Planners Squared. Woo. I don't know about you, Danny, but I am glad the week is over. Well, it's not even over yet, but
is it
glad
over?
it's Friday. I don't know, the heat's getting me. I mean, it's hot. My car was registering like 113 degrees. I'm like, this is ludicrous. What is going on here?
It is hot. I keep telling people, I don't know if it's just I'm getting older and it's impacting me more, but or affecting me more, but it's, yeah.
No, it's just
not
drags
fun.
on you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hope you all trying to stay as cool as possible. Market's sort of cool, cooling off. Right, Lance has been talking about a corrective phase happening here in markets, and that's exactly what happened. Nothing to panic about. It's just we got over-exuberant, and this is sort of healthy. Let some of the air out of the tire, cool things off. Long-term trend is still seemingly positive, although there are a lot of cracks in the economic foundation that seem to be getting ignored. But yet economists, the one thing we keep seeing, Danny, is the resiliency of the consumer, right? Walmart's numbers, how people are still spending on experiences. So economists are lifting U.S. growth forecasts. But we talk about this a lot, that, this pivot or lowering of rates seems like fantasy talk right now. It seems that we are going to be stuck at these higher rates for a period of time. It's almost like a war between the consumer and the Fed as far as who's going to win, as the Fed might even continue to raise rates. But even then, with the way core inflation looks, why I have no absolute reason to lower them. Well, so we have student loan payments that hopefully I think are going to be resumed again. That'll hurt. We have cash coffers getting drained, people spending a lot on credit cards, but it just seems like the consumer is just willing to do this. And I always think, Danny, it's because they feel like my job is safe. If my job is safe, I can push this stuff out. I think that's the mindset a lot of times.
I think that's the case, but I think, you can take a look at just Walmart and Target's earnings. They're two different companies, granted. Now, Walmart is going to have a lot more sales within food, where Target is going to be more in the consumer discretionary area.
Right.
And Walmart's been very, very resilient. And, their forward guidance is really strong versus a Target that, granted, they've had some hiccups and some things that they've done and policy they've had that I think has certainly impacted their sales.
Yes.
But their outlook is not nearly as positive. And, some of this is because I think, they are more consumer discretionary. And granted, we've talked about how the pandemic has changed so much as far as how we have to look at things and what people have done. And just like you mentioned, the jobs numbers have not budged a whole lot. We are seeing, that white collar layoff versus a blue collar. So we haven't seen this mass exodus, so to speak. And the pandemic did a lot of this ahead of time, I think, for us in some ways, right?
Right.
Where you saw the major changes during that time. And, Lance and I talked about this a little bit on Wednesday, how, we had a recession. We had all the indicators there prior to the pandemic, but we kind of put this under the guise of this was all because of the pandemic. Granted, if it had not happened, we may have seen this anyways. So, rationalizing a lot that's going on, I think, has made it extremely challenging.
Yeah.
In this environment.
It is, because if you think rationally, you may not even want to be in the market, when you just have to say, listen, it is what it is. The market's telling us this is what it is. You can have your own economic forecast and then take it out on your portfolio, and you make bad moves, or you just don't look at it for what it is. And the market is designed to perplex you. So the interesting part of Walmart's commentary yesterday, I listened to a little bit of the conference call and read the transcript. It says, obviously their customers are looking for value, but they are seeing people across all income cohorts go frequently to Walmart. So $100,000 or more in household income. We're seeing more and more higher end households going to Walmart.
And that's been a trend that has been ramped up over the last 6 months to a year.
Right. So they're doing a lot of really good stuff. And again, their food. I just think Walmart is one of those companies that caters to everyone during economic distress. And the CEO was talking about household budget distress. And I do think that that's there. And it's indicated in the economic numbers. So it's one thing about what the economical numbers look like because people are spending on stuff they need. But and at the same time, they're not happy because inflation isn't moving as quickly as everybody wants on the lower end of the scale. Look at mortgage rates now, over 7%. I mean, that market's frozen as heck. I mean, that is going to take at least 5% mortgage rates for this market, the secondary market, to thaw. I was talking to a client yesterday. He goes, yeah, we just got an email from a new development with Lennar or Toll Brothers, I can't remember, and we would get like a 4.5% mortgage rate with bonus. So in other words, new home sales, if you want to buy a home, that's where you're getting the good rates. That's where you're getting the incentives. But on the secondary market, boy, it's tough to find inventory or at least inventory that you like, that houses you used to look at go, oh, these are great. This one's great. This one's great. You don't see that anymore.
It's at a 21-year high. And so if you're a homeowner and you want to move, you're probably not going to move right now because your interest rate on what you currently have,
right,
the average person stays in a home 7 years, is likely much lower than what you can get right now. So you may downsize yet have a higher mortgage payment. So we're not seeing the people move unless they have to, not because they want to. And so I think that's a big caveat when we think about that.
Agree.
Looking at the 10-year Treasury, we're at a 16-year high right now?
Yeah.
I mean, and that this may be getting a little bit overdone as well. And so when you think about all the data and how long it takes for these higher rates to really impact the economy, look, we've seen an impact already. Just go look at financials back in March. Mm-hmm. That is something that's not going away if these rates remain higher. So, it's like the old saying, we've talked about this over and over again, where yields will take the escalator up and the elevator down. That's still likely to happen. It's a matter of when. And so the Fed is staying very steadfast and saying, hey, we are not going to decrease interest rates anytime soon. But just think back, rewind a year and a half ago, it was the exact same thing, but the opposite. Inflation's transitory. We're not going to do anything. And I think that it's the same exact story where you have to be prepared for what will come. And then you also need to think about how long, everybody wants to catch this falling knife and buy something at the very bottom, right? And I think this is going to be one of those tough ones. Long-term thesis needs to remain the same, but you need to be nimble surrounding it.
Nobody buys low, Danny.
Well,
haven't we learned long enough in this business that an investor tells you they want to buy low or they want to buy value, and that's the total opposite of what they want, unless it produces returns in a month. Market is possibly the most primal place we've ever witnessed emotionally. So especially now, we get back, we're going to talk about, hey, you might be forced to save for retirement. Some states are doing just that when we get back.
Get daily investment news you can use, delivered at the speed of the internet at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Hi, Lance Roberts here. If you're like most people, your 401k plan represents the bulk of your retirement assets. And unfortunately for many, managing your 401k plan can be difficult. There's so many choices, so many things to consider. With just a quick email, a couple of questions, you can put RIA advisors to work for you managing your 401k plan. Get started right now at the website, realinvestmentadvice.com, or simply call our toll-free number, 855-RIA-PLAN, or again, simply online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show YouTube page has all of our videos ready for your easy access. From 3 minutes on markets and money to each day's radio shows like Technically Speaking Tuesday, Financial Fitness Friday, and the latest analysis from Lance Roberts and Michael Leibowitz. Subscribe and bookmark our YouTube channel for The Real Investment Show, or just click on the show links at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Health and financial security touches everyone within your organization. Offering benefits for all doesn't need to be complicated. Hi, I'm Tom Allen, Senior Benefits Consultant at RIA Advisors. RIA Benefits provides independent expertise to find solutions that speak to the mission of your business, the culture you want to establish, and the budget you are able to work within. Book a free consultation with me at realinvestmentadvice.com/retirement, and we'll find a solution that takes care of your most important asset, your people. realinvestmentadvice.com/retirement, realinvestmentadvice.com.
And now, another page from the Real Investment Advisors Investing Manifesto. Bulls win in bull markets. Bears win in bear markets. Eagles soar above and take advantage of opportunity. Let us help you soar as you reach your financial goals with RIA Advisors. Neither bull nor bear. RIA Advisors, 281-501-1791 or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show.
So I read an interesting article in Investors Daily. And Jason Fichtner, he's chief economist at the Bipartisan Policy Center. It's a think tank, and he authored a paper called The Peak 65 Generation, Creating a New Retirement Security Framework. And it's for the Alliance for Lifetime Income, a nonprofit that focuses on protecting retirement income and annuities. As far as a protected, you will live, these income streams will be around as long as you live. So the survey found that the Peak 65 trend by the founder, 51% of Americans aged 45 to 75 don't think they have enough retirement savings to last their lifetime. And more than a third aren't confident they'll have the funds to cover basic monthly expenses. So according to their Protected Retirement Income and Planning Study, half of these Peak 65 Americans have $100,000 or less in investable assets. Now, some states are really starting to get this as well. And there are multiple studies out there that say, listen, automatic retirement savings, if you don't actively opt out, tend to be successful. So Maine and Colorado have now created a partnership that will see 2 state-run retirement savings programs. And this will be auto-enrollment, Danny, in Roth individual retirement accounts as default, with the option to add a traditional IRA. So the contribution is 5% of salary, that's the default, and auto-escalate that to 1% per year up to a maximum of 8%. We've always talked about this, get started and slowly increase over time. And now certain states are going to go ahead and do that. I think, unfortunately, as much as I don't like governments involved in our stuff, this is necessary. People just do not save even when they can. And I guess maybe they look at the government as their example, but I don't know. I'm sort of torn on these programs, but I do think it could be helpful to have this done, unfortunately.
Yeah, I do agree. I don't like a couple things about it. I mean, number one, they only allow up to like an automatic escalation up to 8% as far as how much you can put in. Mm-hmm. Also, not real clear as far as what the investment options are. If the state's going to manage these funds for you, I absolutely hate it.
Yeah.
I mean, we see what they've done with their pensions. I think that is a problem. But I get the numbers, and I understand why states would actually try to tackle this by themselves. Because you look, 51% of people actually contribute to some type of retirement plan. 51%. So that means half the people aren't even doing anything. You look at the average and median balances, they're terrible. I think when we start thinking about why would the state do something like this, I was trying to think like, what is their incentive outside of, yes, they want to do good, they want to help their people, but look, we know better than that. Sorry, I guess I'm gonna get off on a tangent here, but
yeah,
Medicaid, right? All these Medicaid programs are state run.
yeah.
I mean, that's the only incentive that I can actually see outside of like actually trying to do the right thing. And I'd like to say that that's what I think they're doing, but there's got to be another incentive inside of this. What are these states doing and why are they doing it? I don't know.
Well, to your point, the more people save, the less stress on them. Now, this partnership, because they have 40%, this is the Maine merit program, 40% of Maine workers have no workplace retirement plans. And so Pew Research looked at this program and said that the state-based automatic enrollment helped mitigate $1.3 billion in retirement savings shortfalls. The interesting is it says it's a it's a partnership, public-private, but I have no idea, and I don't see it easily, who is the company they are working with.
Yeah, who's going to be the custodian over this? Who's going to be the administrator? The other thing is they are putting this with the Roth, which you and I, we love Roth 401ks, Roth IRAs. If you can utilize them, fantastic. We think that, maybe you don't put everything in there, but you hedge your bets. You need to put funds inside of a Roth if you have the flexibility. Give yourself flexibility in retirement. But everybody talks about Roths going away, yet they're mandating it. But this is also two states with state income tax.
What are you trying to say?
They need the money.
Danny's becoming like, what's his name? Steve Bannon or what? No, Alex Jones. He's becoming the conspiracy theorist. But you're
this
right.
Is no conspiracy. These are actual facts.
You have to opt into the traditional.
Correct. Yeah.
Because then we can't collect our state taxes from you. How dare you?
Hey, I'm not trying to be cynical here, but I mean,
but that's absolutely true, and probably 8%. Even though I don't think it's a great savings rate, you're probably breaking a lot of these employees. They would probably not going to get to. It's going to be interesting to see how many get to 8% and sort of let that happen. Even though we know that that's not a big deal for a lot of people.
You wonder what this does to the wage growth. I mean, think about how many people live paycheck to paycheck. Are they going to have to go ahead and start increasing wages? Because this is not an employer contribution. This is simply an employee contribution. And they're not mandated. Like under a safe harbor, when in a 401k or defined contribution plan, there's mandates to keep them protected, these employers. So will that eliminate a lot of that in those states? Where now you're not getting that employer match because you're essentially, they're saying, hey, you've already got this. I don't know. How does that change that?
The person on the board of Merit, who's the executive director, she served on educational foundations, mediator in courts, held positions at the Portland Public Library,
Seems really qualified.
and a master's in public policy. There's not the F word is nowhere in this executive director, finance, as far as knowing the mechanics of how this works. So there's nobody really with a financial background that could help. Maybe they're depending on the private sector to do that, but I cannot get any information on who they work through.
Yeah, look, I think it's good in theory. I like that it's forcing people who may not be saving
I think
for
it's
retirement
sad,
to do
even
so.
though I think it works. To your point, it's pretty sad. You got to force people, but that's the situation, especially with inflation that we are in right now. Whatever the word for it is, Bidenomics seems to be, again, in all fairness to Grandpa there in chief, we've had these problems for a while. So this has been a problem. Unfortunately, this has been a problem through many administrations. People just don't have the ability or want to save. Look at that report we talked about Gen X and the state of their retirement savings.
Yeah, that's right.
And again, it's not easy. People have to, maybe housing affordability is at the worst levels we've ever seen. Rents as a percentage of take-home pay are at the highest I've ever seen. Just to keep things going, you need to make a lot more money. Everything costs more today, and it's what I worry about with inflation, Danny. I don't see. I know we talk about inflation and disinflation, but I mean, how many companies really go back and lower prices? I don't think my auto insurance and my house insurance, homeowners insurance, and some of the things that I need to buy are going to go down anytime soon. Now, the rate of change, the increases going forward might be less, but I just don't see how we go backwards.
I think that's the issue, is that so many people are looking for actual deflation. They hear the numbers, say, oh, well, we're at 3% in inflation, but it's still on top of what we've already received, that high inflation numbers that we've gotten over the last year and a half, 2 years.
Right.
That's not gone down. It's just 3% on top of that instead of 6, 7, 8, 9.
So it's very misleading to think that you're getting some sort of relief, to your point. The rate of change is I'm still getting rate increases on inflation on this plateau. I'm not seeing a reversal in prices. I'm still seeing inflation. And I do think that the Fed has, you want to laugh, and then you can laugh at me in a year or so.
Oh, man.
I think they have 2 or 3 more rate hikes in them. That's what I think. I think it's going to take a lot to break this. I really do.
I don't know the timing of it, but I think it breaks.
I don't know the timing, but I
expect.
think they're going to have to. Well, listen, they keep pushing it, and yet I thought it would have broken by now. And I understand, like, you're looking at savings coffers by the end of the third quarter, completely drained. And I understand what's going on with credit cards, but I think as long as the job market remains strong, people will stay in debt. I mean, you talk to so many people, and this is sort of what was a mindset when I was growing up, and people working jobs. Like, you could do, well, even though they were big savers, and a lot of them were from the Depression, some of the younger people were like, as long as I have a job, I can make the minimum payments. Yeah, I heard that a lot when I was first starting out in my career, and, you know, I think that's how people live. If my job is secure, then I don't have anything to worry about.
Yeah, but I think that, I mean, you're talking 30-something years ago, Rich.
I know.
But I think the market has changed so much. Think about this.
Oh, yeah, the
30
market
years
has.
ago,
Yeah.
what type of payments did you have?
Well, mortgage. Well, I didn't.
Well, I mean,
but-
just in general, what did most people have? They had a mortgage. They had maybe an auto loan. Most people saved. They had large down payments.
Right.
They had a large down payment on a car if they didn't pay for it outright and actually save for it. People drove vehicles much longer than what they do now. We didn't have the financialization of everything where it was so easy to put things on a credit card, or, you know, we talked about the iPhone, or, you know, we joked around about how you can finance underwear at this point. So there's
Jimmy
so
John's.
much debt out there, right? That's problematic. And so the problem is that we may not see it. It may say, hey, this is interest free, but that inflation still creeps up. So one way or another, you're paying for it.
You are paying for it. Those Jimmy Johns are not cheap.
And at what point does that wreck things? At higher interest rates, that's going to really throw, especially if credit continues to tighten. That's going to be an issue.
Yeah, we get back. I want to talk to Danny about this interesting study, something we talked about a year ago. That's coming true right now.
Uh-oh.
Stay tuned.
The Real Investment Advice blog. It's required reading for the informed investor. Catch it today at realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show YouTube channel has all our videos ready for your easy access. Now with the new and improved Before the Bell reports, Candid Coffee, and Lunch and Learn replays, plus each day's radio shows like Technically Speaking Tuesday, Financial Fitness Friday, and the latest analysis from Lance Roberts and Michael Leibowitz. Subscribe and bookmark our YouTube channel for the Real Investment Show, or just click on the show links at realinvestmentadvice.com. realinvestmentadvice.com.
Health and financial security touches everyone within your organization. Offering benefits for all doesn't need to be complicated. Hi, I'm Tom Allen, Senior Benefits Consultant at RIA Advisors. RIA Benefits provides independent expertise to find solutions that speak to the mission of your business, the culture you want to establish, and the budget you are able to work within. Book a free consultation with me at realinvestmentadvice.com/retirement, and we'll find a solution that takes care of your most important asset, your people. realinvestmentadvice.com/retirement, realinvestmentadvice.com.
Can't catch the whole show now? Listen to our podcast later at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Yeti Holdings, which is the overpriced mugs. And we're just going to run up to the lake for the weekend, and our cooler broke at our house. We're running late, and so I just ran into Academy real quick. I was not paying attention. I grabbed this Yeti cooler bag. It was large enough to throw some drinks in. We could throw it, get it on the boat, etc. I wasn't paying any attention at all. Get up to the counter, drop this Yeti cooler on there, and I'm like, cool, man, I'm going to be in, I'm going to be out, we're going to be on the road, it's great. He goes, that'll be $230. I was like, what?
The Real Investment Show podcast.
He's like, yeah, it's $230. I was like, it's a cooler. This crap is expensive.
The Real Investment Show podcast. Same show, your schedule.
That cooler, I'm going to be buried in that cooler. No coffin for me. Bury me in the Yeti cooler.
At realinvestmentadvice.com.
Because it was more expensive than the coffin.
And now, another page from the Real Investment Advisors Investing Manifesto. Manage risk and volatility rather than trying to manage gains. You don't have to be right all the time. Long-term investing success is a 70% gain. Let us help you reach your financial goals with RIA Advisors. Neither bull nor bear. RIA Advisors, 281-501-1791 or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Real Investment Show podcasts are now available from Stitcher Smart Radio at Stitcher.com.
Hi, Lance Roberts here. If you're like most people, your 401k plan represents the bulk of your retirement assets, and unfortunately for many, managing your 401k plan can be difficult. There's so many choices, so many things to consider. With just a quick email, a couple of questions, you can put RIA Advisors to work for you managing your 401k plan. It's a quick and easy application. Just simply click Ask a Question at realinvestmentadvice.com or give us a call at 855-RIA-PLAN. That's realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show YouTube channel has all our videos ready for your easy access. Now with the new and improved Before the Bell reports, plus each day's radio shows. Subscribe and bookmark our YouTube channel at realinvestmentadvice.com.
You're listening to The Real Investment Show.
So Bank of America came out with a recent report and cited something called a shift up in higher income unemployment, which saw a 70% increase versus a year ago in the number of six-figure earners who received unemployment benefits. Americans earning at least $125,000 a year are being laid off at 3 times the rate of those with low or moderate incomes, according to Bank of America. And Danny, we talked about this when this was going to be a recession or a job pullback. It wasn't the people. It wasn't going to be the people who work the aisles at Home Depot. It was going to be someone who works in middle management. We've talked about this for a while, that the lower and middle income households will remain, as they say, fairly resilient. So the one thing we know about those households is they spend every penny they make, good or bad, which also keeps this going, along with all the social safety net benefits and everything else that we see. High-paying jobs in tech, finance, layoffs over the past few months have been high, right? So, to me, this is something we talked about. If you're in the service industry, lower or middle income, you're going to keep your job. If I'm working in some cubicle somewhere, crunching numbers, I'd be worried that my job was at risk.
Yeah, I think I'm concerned with both. I mean, because I think it's got to start somewhere. But I don't know that I'm concerned right now. I mean, I think that, listen, this can remain bullish for a while, probably longer than we can fathom. But
as far as people spending, man.
Yeah.
I went to Galveston over the weekend, and let me tell you, there's hell and then it was hot. I mean, it was so hot. But we went to one of the seafood places on the water, and it was mobbed.
Yeah.
And the prices aren't cheap, and it was mobbed. So people are out there spending money.
That always, surprises me. I don't know why. Because we're quick to share meals. I mean, I'm doing the math with kids. Like, all right, 3 kids, you get a kid's meal versus getting one big adult plate splitting. Like,
yeah, I understand that. But no, it's just. So again, what I worry about is how long this is going to last, how long Treasury yields are going to stay sustained. And to Lance's point, over a period of time, it's going to cause more. And this is what I worry about: a spiral. It creates more. People continue to spend. Government continues to spend, right? Economic growth continues, which is great, but then Treasury yields continue to climb. Our debt service goes up. Then also our status in the country, in the world is cracking, right? I understand we're still the cleanest dirty shirt, but Danny, that's just based on our image. But we're slowly chipping away at that image.
Yeah,
as far as being fiscally responsible, and that I think also portends to higher yields. So it's just a strange time, and if you're an investor, from an investor perspective, it's tough to know which way to turn. Right? You want to, and if you have a balanced portfolio for the most part, where you have money in different sectors, you're not really performing at all this year.
Yeah.
If I don't have just tech, even though tech is coming down, if I have utilities and healthcare and energy, and I could have and I have great dividend stocks, I'm sitting there like a slug, going, "What the heck is going on?" When the S&P is up quite a bit because of those market cap companies that are eating the lunch of all the other companies. So, but if you want to be diversified and own different types of companies and own value and cash flows and dividends. So the boring stuff is just sitting there paying dividend. And, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's great. I mean, I think that's risk management. I don't care about beating an S&P 500, knowing that it's just 5 to 7 companies that are driving the entire darn thing. And no advisor in his or her right mind is going to take your money and sit with you. Imagine you're interviewing your broker. Danny, you're my prospective advisor. And I go to you, "Hey, how you going to invest my money, Danny?" Because we do get that question. And you go, "I'm just going to take it. The magic is AI. And I'm going to take all your money and I'm going to put it all into one sector of the economy." I don't care how much experience you have in investing. I'm getting up and walking out because you are obviously avoiding or ignoring risk.
But imagine you did that back in January.
Oh, then you would just get laughed at.
Well, yeah.
Like last year, like when, I'm just saying it's not good if you're managing your own money and you're frustrated because you're diversified across different types of companies. You own a Walmart and you own Google, or you own AbbVie and you own Microsoft. That's okay. You don't have to have it all in those sectors. And by the time you catch on and buy in, some of the fever is coming off. So you'll have more opportunity to buy those stocks as you go through this corrective phase. But man, there's just no way in heck. I would tell a person, if you just want one sector, you're going to have to find another advisor because it ain't happening here.
Well, there is a lot of risk with that, and I see why people would want to do that. But I also understand that, hindsight is really easy.
Take your money and go and play roulette. Bet it on 00.
But, I had a conversation with a client yesterday who really conservative, doesn't have much allocation to stock. And they're like, "Man, I don't feel like this is so conservative anymore," because yields have popped. And, it's just that environment where, you get a little bit of downside. And even then, we've talked about, Lance has talked about for a month and a half, hey, we're going to see a pullback. We're going to see a pullback. We're getting one. We're going to try to use this and find opportunities within there. And I think that we're doing just that.
Yeah.
But I think the mindset's like, whoa, hey, what just happened? People are kind of shocked seeing that, okay, well, yields are increasing, so bonds are going down, stocks have declined a bit. But, I could argue this is pretty healthy. It's going to be...
You should get a 10% pullback in markets like you breathe every day.
On average, you're going to get 1 to 2.
Exactly.
Every year.
Every year. It's just part... Listen, if you're going to play on that field, you better understand the terrain. Most of the time, you're going to trip. 10% doesn't feel good. That doesn't mean your portfolio is going to be down 10%, but you're going to go through a frustrating period. And August does tend to be frustrating. August and September tend to be rougher times in markets. But the longer-term trend is intact. We're trying to find where money will continue to be spent and put money there. So I'm not hearing, what's funny? I'm not hearing on the financial channels over the last week and a half, not hearing a lot of AI stuff. Like, it's sort of quieted down as these stocks have started to pull back. It's sort of like we don't want to, we might talk a little bit about it, but it's not constant that we've had. So remember, financial media can be helpful in some ways if you listen with a skeptical ear, and you may get ideas, or it could drive questions to your advisor. Hey, I just heard about this report or this company. What do you think? Get a perspective, right? And understand the other side of the argument. For the people that are all for certain things that are hot, why not look on the other side and take a look at what the other people who are not so hot on it are saying, and pull a little bit of both. Try to find those arguments. If you want to own a stock, if I want to own a company, what I do first when I want to own a stock, I go right to the views that are opposed to it. I don't even look at the ones that validate what I'm thinking. I want to read the ones that are telling me that's a terrible idea, or I'd be cautious here, so I can rethink and say, yeah, that does make sense, but I still think I'm going to go forward with this investment because. So I'm not trying to find those views. And I think you have to look really, Danny, at those views that do not confirm what you think. Like, I always have a battle with this treasury yield thing. Like, to me, I'm always looking at I understand why eventually these longer-term yields must come down. We have these macro forces globally that are going to pull them down. Demographics are it's some of the worst I've ever seen. Look, every country in the world, right? You want to read the other side, like Larry Summers, who says, hey, I think the 10-year treasury is going to be at 5%. I want to read what he said and be there for a while. I want to see what the opposing view is. Don't you think investors should probably look to do that? Look at everything that is going to cause an obstacle or something you may not want to hear. You do need to listen to it or read it.
You and I talked about something like this years ago. It was probably 15 years ago, I want to say. We were talking about, IPOs and how people want to jump in them. And you said, what's exactly what you said? You said, create a pros and cons list.
Yeah.
Figure out, but wait and see what happens from there. And I think that's the problem, is that people want to act so quickly on things because news comes so fast that nobody does the homework anymore. And nobody wants to wait.
No such thing as homework on anything.
Or we're relying on somebody else's information. And we're saying, okay.
Except for people on YouTube and our show. Hey, when we get back, we're going to talk about pet care. 78% of Americans say they would be willing to go into pet debt. Me too. We'll be right back.
Get daily investment news you can use, delivered at the speed of the internet at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Oh, Red, I declare, I plumb missed that candy coffee. Whatever am I gonna do?
Don't you worry, little darling. We'll watch it again on our YouTube channel.
Why, Red, I never.
The Real Investment Show YouTube channel has all of our past presentations, from Candid Coffee and Lunch and Learn to special topic discussions, and all of our live show recordings preserved for you. Subscribe now to the Real Investment Show YouTube channel, or look for the link on our website at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Hi, Lance Roberts here. If you're like most people, your 401k plan represents the bulk of your retirement assets, and unfortunately for many, managing your 401k plan can be difficult. There's so many choices, so many things to consider. With just a quick email, a couple of questions, you can put RIA advisors to work for you managing your 401k plan. Get started right now at the website, realinvestmentadvice.com, or simply call our toll-free number, 855-RIA-PLAN at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Small businesses are now being challenged by the lack of employees and how to attract and recruit the best employees. To get the better employee, you'll have to offer a better package. Hi, I'm Tom Allen, RIA Advisors Retirement Plan Consultant. Don't assume a 401k plan is too costly or complicated for your small business to offer. Let us show you how to make the most of an affordable and effective plan that will deliver true value for your business and your employees. Call me toll-free at 855-RIA-PLAN or online at realinvestmentadvice.com. That's realinvestmentadvice.com.
And now, another page from the Real Investment Advisors Investing Manifesto. A passive investment portfolio requires active risk management. It's not a choice, it's necessity. Diversification doesn't protect against risk of loss. Let us actively help you reach your financial goals with RIA Advisors. Neither bull nor bear. RIA Advisors, 281-501-1791 or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show.
I think we're back. We're just standing here waiting for the cold front.
Well, we may be here for a while.
Oh, man. Brent likes this weather. He likes it hot like this. This is his thing. It's like he's that turkey in the oven and he's pouring the juices all over himself, not realizing he's baking alive.
Top down, baby.
What about the car?
Yeah.
Brent's driving around. It's like 200 degrees inside his car.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. Some people who live for the heat. I like the heat, but I like it. It's the humidity that.
Moderation.
Yeah. It's the humanity that gets me, not the heat. Too many people.
You don't have to shovel it off your driveway, though.
No, pine needles.
There's that.
There's the shoveling of pine needles. The trees are crying right now.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, shoot, I won't even put a dress shirt on. I mean,
It's
I was going to iron a shirt. I was like, nah, putting a polo on. It's too darn hot.
Right.
boy, just telling you.
August is the season for 3 showers a day.
Why don't we just work from the shower then? We don't even have to come in.
Echo chamber.
Oh, but
Speaking
hey,
of-
you got to ration that water.
You do.
Well, shower with a friend.
Or your pet. Sometimes you got to get in the tub with them and just go for it, man.
Have you ever
because-
done that?
Yes. Because my
What?
dogs hate water. They hate I have weird dogs, and I got to keep them in there to jumping out, and they hate it's the whole thing.
I did that one time. I came out looking like I've been wrestling in the briar patch.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, it's like getting a dog in the pool. Like, no way.
Yeah, well, pool's one thing, but you got to contain the dog in the
I
shower.
love those dogs in the videos that you see, usually the bigger dogs, but some smaller dogs. They jump into the pool, they love it, and they start swimming, living their best life.
Yeah.
So the ASPCA reports that routine medical care costs $225 a year for dogs and $160 for cats, but I do think that's fairly generous. But many pet owners are willing to do anything to give their animal companions the care they deserve. So as many as 78% of Americans said they would consider going into debt to cover a pet emergency. And that's by Consumer Affairs report from March. Of that 78%, 43% said they would go into debt for their pet. 35% said they might. But boy, it's a luxury in many ways to own a pet. We actually, for some clients, we set up a separate pet goal. Pet health insurance, pet care fund we have that are separate goals in plans to take care of the animals, knowing how expensive it is, especially if you have multiple. We have some clients that have some senior dogs and cats, and their bills are through the roof. Thousands of dollars. Danny's like,
hey, I've been there. I get it. I mean, it's...
Yeah, like, look at what you did with your dog, right? All the tests. I mean, you do this for the member of your family. So they talk about pet insurance, and I'm a little torn about this, Danny. Years ago, pet insurance was very affordable. So the North American Pet Health Insurance Association, accident and illness coverage for dogs costs an average of $53.34 per month. I will tell you, $53.34 is incredibly low. I search, and I've had an insurance policy called Healthy Paws on one of my dogs for a long time. That policy started 10 years ago at about $10, $15. This time around, it's over $100. I used to have it on all three dogs, but I took it away from the other two because the other thing is to build a pet emergency fund. Yeah. Yields are good. So you better understand the stipulations behind the pet insurance and what they're going to pay for and how easy or more difficult they make it for a claim. So this is a very popular area because people must mitigate this risk based on the cost, but you are going to pay lots of money depending upon the dog and how old the dog is, and certain things that dog is prone to, that breed, may not be covered, and you don't know it. So you better read the fine print before you take on a pet insurance policy.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice because a lot of these breeds are prone to specific illnesses or ailments. And so, like, we have boxers, always have. And, we've faced our fair share of bills. Now, I think back to, like, the dog I had in college. I spent way too much money. Young, dumb, and probably selfish, like just trying to keep him alive for probably too long.
Because that's what we do, right? So,
But, like, the one we have now, we rescued and... got him with heartworms. They said that it was already done and taken care of. And then, treatment didn't work, had to continue to do a more advanced treatment. And, that's a healthy dog with a problem that, we inherited. And, a lot of households, I think that would have broken if you're not prepared or saving for those types of instances. That was awful. But, I get it. People do it.
People do it. So
they're members of your family.
Yeah. And what you have to keep in mind is you might get a basic policy, but then you may want something like dental illness, chiropractic care, behavioral conditions.
For the dog or for people?
Both, but for the dog. And or the cat. You're going to add more fees.
You're joking, right?
No, you have, dogs that have like separation anxiety and they need training or whatever the heck it is. I mean, whatever.
Hold on now, but there's dog chiropractors? Even Brent's.
No, well, chiropractic care means like if you got to replace certain like hip replacements or whatever. In other words, if that dog is prone to a certain ailment, you're going to pay more probably for additional coverage. They're just not going to cover it.
I got you.
But that's why you got to really look at building maybe a pet emergency fund. That's really the easiest way. And if you're going to get yields close to over 4%, close to 5% in a high yield savings, then maybe you want to say, listen, I'm going to guide $100 a month. Instead of paying this health insurance bill, and they may not pay, I'm just going to set up a pet fund, and I'm going to move money into it on top of my normal emergency savings. I mean, that seems to be the easiest way, and then maybe you can do minimal coverage on pet insurance because you're going to pay for most of it, but you got to subsidize some of it, right? Also, there are a lot of vets that do take payment plans. You can look at that as well. There are ways to do that.
Well, the cost of some of them, man. So we have a rule, and haven't been following it as much. But if they've got a really fancy office, you probably need to go somewhere else because you're paying for that office, right? But we have one that's at the front of the neighborhood, really good vet. But great bedside manner. The guy will call you like at night, hey, FYI, here's what we did. Here's what's going on. These test results. Don't worry, or here's what we need to do. But it costs an arm and a leg.
It does. Even if the person does, even if I've noticed even vets that just have sort of nice offices, they're not over the top. But every time you walk in, it's at least $75 just for a visit.
Ooh, man. I need to find out where you're going.
Yeah, but I live in the bad part of town. You live in the
I live down the road from you.
Yeah,
What are you talking
about
about?
50 miles, yeah.
Yeah.
In the gated community.
No, it's not gated.
I think there's
It
a
will
broken
be.
fence in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
I got to live in the Roberts neighborhood.
Which
Brent,
one?
we need to move.
He moves so frequently.
Well, I
you
know.
can't-
I don't know what neighborhood. But now
Yeah.
it seems like he's in the Roberts or the Ratliff neighborhood.
Ah, yes. And you have to
gotta
clench your jaw when you say that, Lovey.
Oh, wonder what we're going to do today. Badminton?
Oh, we're gonna work.
Who's
we're
got
gonna
the
go to work.
gamecock? Anybody got the gamecock?
We're gonna go to work, and then we're gonna chase kids, and then we're gonna go back to work.
I don't know how you feel about this, but Britney Spears is getting divorced.
I have no feelings whatsoever.
Yeah.
Well, her husband said she was, there was
Which-
a dancer
I
or
feel
something.
sorry for the woman.
Something happened.
She's
But-
being ignored and exploited.
She does that a lot to herself.
Ignored?
Like, in other words, I've never thought I would say this, but she's the first woman I would tell to put some clothes on because she's always naked. On Instagram, she's always doing something without clothes. Like, we already seen you without clothes. Like, you're married to her. She's going to be somewhere without clothes. It's
And by ignored, I
What do you
mean
mean?
she has some real problems,
That
and
need to
no
be
one is
addressed.
addressing it. Yeah.
Well, I think everybody's tried to address it around her, but if you don't want to help yourself,
yeah, I mean, there's only so
There's
much
that.
you can do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's that.
I don't know if the social media stuff helps either.
no, I don't think that ever helps. But I think that there are probably much greater issues at hand with this, and it's
Yeah.
sad, really. I think
It is.
I mean, man, trying to raise kids, go through so many different relationships. That's got to be difficult.
I would like to see, no, I'm not going to say it. It's going to get me in trouble.
I want to see her estate plan. That's what I'm concerned with.
Oh, my God. You know there is none.
Oh man, there better be.
You know, absolutely. I mean, you thought Aretha Franklin was a train wreck with that? I would dare to say there isn't that.
But she's had so much news. Somebody has to be talking about
I
this.
hope
with her.
so.
Man,
I hope so. Brittany, call us. But wear clothes.
don't call me. call
Don't
Rich.
Zoom with no clothes. Can't do that here. Connie in compliance will cut the call. We're happy to help you. Brent's going to have an intervention with you. We'll play your music on the show as bumper.
No.
No, we won't. Oops, I did that again. We'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in with us. Have a great weekend, everybody. Try to stay cool if you can. Not Fonzie cool, real cool.